I'm Madison Chalk,
I'm Evan Bates.
and Olympic Rinkside season starts right now.
Indeed, Madison Chalk and Evan Bates, Rinkside Olympic season. This is episode 2. It starts right now. Thanks everyone for being with us. I'm Nick McCarvel, and we are so excited to be with you once again this week as we head into week 2 of the Grand Prix series at Cup of China. We're going to break down everything that happened in Chongqing, where Maddie and Evan were victorious. We're also going to look forward to Skate Canada International this coming week in Saskatoon. And we've got a world champion. We started last week with world champion Alyssa Liu was with us exclusively. This week, we've got another one in Ilia Malinin, the two-time and reigning world champ. He's going to be competing in Saskatoon at Skate Canada, and he's going to join us right here later in the episode. Now, we're going to get stuck into Cup of China. There's a lot to break down, but I'm going to start with my top 3 moments of the week, and we've got to start with another American in Amber Glenn, who is a point gobbler. 19 points across these 2 triple axels in the short and free skates. She wins the title, as does this man. What a win for Shun Sato, the Japanese skater. Look at the elation from his coach and from Shun himself. It means so much. A second consecutive win for Amber and for Shun Sato, who puts himself in good standing for the Japanese Olympic team. I love the emotion. It was also an emotional return for the reigning Olympic pairs champions. We haven't seen them in 3.5 years since Beijing 2022. Sui Wenjing and Han Sang back on competitive ice. They win the bronze medal in front of a really enthused home crowd. Cup of China is the second of 6 weeks on the Grand Prix. These skaters, they're trying to earn spots in the Grand Prix final. That is in mid-December in Nagoya, Japan. Not only are they earning spots and positions and hopes for that Grand Prix final, they're earning some cash too, as they should, guys. Look at that, $18,000 for the top team or skater in each discipline. $25,000 on offer at the Grand Prix final in December. Now, I've mentioned all of the 4 reigning American world champions from 2025. Alyssa Liu, she was in Chongqing. We've got her coming up just next. You've also got Maddie Chalk and Evan Bates. They opened the episode. They win a title for the first time in China. And Ilia Malinin, there's your other world champ. He's going to be with us later in the episode. All right, it was an awesome week of skating at Cup of China. Let's get stuck into some of the results and highlights. We're going to start with the women, where the Americans went 1-2. Amber Glenn defending her title from 2024, edging out Alyssa Liu, just 2 points separating them. Rinka Watanabe, the Japanese skater, she also has a triple axel. She earned the bronze medal. Let's get into our highlights. Amber is going to kick us off. You already saw the triple axel earlier. You know what, guys? We're just going to show it to you again. We could watch this over and over. She nailed it in both the short program. Here it is in the free skate. Where Amber struggled this weekend was the combination, the triple flip, triple toe. She put a hand down in the short program. Here it is in the free skate, was able to fight for this landing on the triple toe, saves that. But overall, she said she's really happy where her skating is, using some of her maturity to win another Grand Prix gold medal dating back to last season. Feeling pretty good. Amber Glenn gonna celebrate her 26th birthday on Tuesday. The 2-time and reigning US champ. You're next gonna see her at Finlandia Trophy. So a super successful weekend for Amber. She was pushed by her US teammate, Alyssa Liu. There's actually that great picture of them hugging after the competition. A lot of emotion between the two of them. Alyssa Liu told us last week right here on Rinkside that she was excited to see her family, including her grandma, at the competition, and they were going to watch some of her skating, which is so cool. And that skating actually is a carryover from last season, both in the short program and the free skate for Alyssa. We're curious to see what she does with these programs moving forward. She led after the short program, just had a few niggles in the free skate. Here's a little bit of a stumble on that triple Lutz. You can see the look on Alyssa's face, but she fought through it, rearranged her program actually there. And that Donna Summer free skate, man, it glittered in Boston. It glittered again in Chongqing. How about a first ever Grand Prix medal for Alyssa Liu, the silver medal? The world champion has to feel good. You're going to next see her at the Skate America event, which is just a few weeks from now. Now, 1-2 for the U.S. women. Last week, we saw Ami Nakai lead a Japanese sweep, and it was Rinka Watanabe who led the Japanese charge this week at Cup of China. I mentioned, just like Amber Glenn, that she's got a triple axel to her name. Rinka had a breakout at Skate Canada a few years ago, won the title there in 2022. This is a look at some of her free skate. She opened with a triple axel and then tried to tack on a triple toe. That was the fall there, but overall a great performance for her. Never been higher than 6th at Japanese Nationals. She's going to have to be better than that. Wins the bronze medal at Cup of China. How about what's happening this week for the women? Here it is, getting primed for Skate Canada. You're going to see Isabeau Levito, Sarah Everhart, and Ami Nakai, the 17-year-old who just won at Grand Prix de France. That's all happening, and here's how you can watch on Peacock and NBC. So Amber Glenn defends successfully at Cup of China, but so did Shun Sato. Let's get into the men's results in singles and the Japanese star. We saw that emotional reaction from his coach and from himself after that big win for Shun Sato. Sets him up so well for the Olympic season. Daniel Grasso grabs the silver medal. That's big for the Italian. And Mikhail Shidorov, a little bit of a disappointment for the reigning silver medalist from the World Championships last year. How about strong showings for Tomoki Hiwatashi in 4th? And Jacob Sanchez was 5th place in the free skate. That gave him a 7th place finish overall. I've got to show you some of these Shun Sato highlights though, because man, he looked great all weekend. His free skate, his short program is actually choreographed by Guillaume Cicerone. This is the free skate for Shun Sato. His 8th Grand Prix podium, his 2nd gold in a row, defends that title with the 278.12. The jumping was there, but the artistry was there as well. I was watching an interview with him from the ISU, and he said, my heart, my dreams are in Milan this season. And how does it feel, Shun? It feels really good. Yeah, we're going to watch this again too. How could we not? The joy, the elation for Shun Sato. He's had great success internationally. You're next going to see him at NHK Trophy in just a couple weeks' time. Congratulations to him. Now, he won the gold medal. It was a silver medal for the Italian, Daniel Grasso. It's his 5th Grand Prix medal in his career after a pair of them last season. This is a skater who's shown us he's got massive jumping ability. Look at that launch into the air from Grasso. Now, the Italian men, they only have 2 spots. This was a favorite from the weekend too. The costume shift, we see that oftentimes in women's skating, but come on, Daniel, putting his own touch on the fashion of it all. There's the fist pump. The Italians only have 2 spots for the men in Milan. You're going to bet that Daniel Grassel's very happy, not only with that silver medal finish, but almost 270 points. He's the reigning Italian champion. He's been really strong internationally too. 7th at the Olympics in Beijing. Congrats to Daniel on that silver medal. He was a fan favorite too in China. The crowd was going wild for him. Let's get into that 4th place finish for Tomoki Hiwatashi. He was a 2019 junior world champion. It has been a roller coaster for him in the seniors. This is his best ever finish at the Grand Prix outside of Skate America 2020. That was pandemic time. This was a huge performance for Tomoki. Went from 6th place in the short program, 4th place overall. How about the emotion? You can see what it means to the skaters. Matches that career best, as I mentioned. He's been a medalist at the US Championships before. Ilia's going to be part of that conversation. Jason Brown. What about Tomoki Hiwatashi? How about it? Really strong showing for him in that free skate. Almost knocking on the door of the podium. Now for the guys, we're looking forward to it. Tomoki's going to be in action in Saskatoon in Saskatchewan. Ilia Malinin is going to lead the charge there. this is how you tune in this weekend for Skate Canada. Well, last week it was world champion Alyssa Liu who is with us. This week, we've got another world champion. Ilia Malinin joins us from home. He's about to head to Saskatoon for Skate Canada. Ilia, thanks for your time. I feel like the last couple of years with you being world champion, we've all been talking about the Olympics and getting to the Olympics. How are you staying in the moment this Olympic season as Milano gets closer and closer?
Yeah, I'm just trying to take everything one step at a time. Usually just think of, how to kind of get myself into that peak performance before the Olympics, taking every competition, giving myself a lot of feedback and just thinking about ways that I can improve and really make it so that when I get to the Olympics, I will be in the best shape I can.
Yeah, well, that's what we're looking forward to. Now, we've seen the stylings on the ice. You've upped the ante both in terms of the technical piece, but also your artistry. But Ilia, you're starting to step up the fashion game as well. We saw it at Worlds last year, but talk us through some of the looks that you've been sporting away from the rink too.
Yeah, it's something that I started to do, just kind of having something to give myself a little more presentation before I step on the ice. And it's also more of a way for potential opportunities for hopefully, brands to see me dressing up before competitions so that they can really kind of put their thought process and have that opportunity for them to be shown before the competition.
Yeah, like at all the NBA games, we see the guys like come into the arena and it's like a whole fashion runway. Is that what you're hoping maybe skating can do that too?
Yeah, that's something I'm trying to do now is to kind of bring that vibe, but also I think it would be a lot more beneficial for, sponsors and deals to really just be able to let their athletes dress up, and it gives everyone kind of an impression of how they look before they get on the ice.
Yeah. All right, great. So your family is a figure skating family. Your parents have coached you. We see your dad oftentimes with you in the kiss and cry. Both your mom and dad are Olympians. But your sister, your little sister, Lisa, she's a skater too. Ilia, I want you to talk us through this clip that we have here. Who did it better, Ilia or Lisa? The jump into the spin combination.
I actually watched her do this program live, like on YouTube.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was rooting for her, and it's really fun to watch my sister skate, and I always try to give her a lot of tips and try to help her out, but sometimes she doesn't really listen often. So it was kind of, I'm like, okay, I'll let my parents deal with it. So
yeah. She's like 9 years younger than you, I think. Is she ever giving Ilia you tips for your skating? What does she say?
Actually, a few days ago, we were kind of going back and forth at it. She was, she's working on her double axel now. So I was trying to encourage her to really, work on that double axel and try to get it good. And she came to me, she's like, you should start working on your quint jumps and have those be consistent. I was like, oh, okay.
Lisa with the hot take. A quint jump in the Olympic season? That's a lot to ask. Well, we love all of that, obviously. Now, we asked some fans for their questions. The first one is from Emily Wasson, 123, and she's asking about Misty and Mew Mew, your cats. She wants to know, what are their personalities? How are they different, your two cats?
I would say Misty, she's the black one. She kind of gives off a really like mysterious and almost kind of like unpredictable sort of vibe, and she's pretty lazy, you could say that. So she kind of gives the personality of how I am sometimes, just kind of really mysterious and sometimes a little bit lazy, but I think it really fits well. Mew Mew, the white cat, she's very energetic and she's really like open to trying everything, and like she's a little more on the chaotic side, which I think resonates really well with my sister. She kind of has that same ideology as well.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey, listen, I've come armed today with my snack of choice, Ilia Malinin. Tell us about the Hershey chocolate bars. When do you eat them, and why are you eating a Hershey bar before you compete?
I have no idea how it started, honestly. Dang, that's good. image, but yeah, no, just it kind of came up to me when I was younger. I'd always liked chocolate, and specifically Hershey chocolate was kind of my favorite chocolate out of everything. So it was kind of now a tradition that I bring up that before I compete, I always eat one. Or now it's kind of any other chocolate that I can find in the moment. So it's more of a tradition where I eat it just so I don't feel like stressed or nervous. It kind of gives me more of like just eating something or feel a little bit like full. So that kind of takes my mind off of feeling stressed or nervous.
All right, well, cheers with chocolate to you. Obviously, good luck at Skate Canada International this weekend, Ilia, and this entire figure skating season. We can't wait.
Thank you so much.
Let's go dancing at Cup of China, where you had the reigning world champs, Madison Chalk and Evan Bates, in action. And they went golden, guys. Good start for them. Now, if you remember last week, that win for Laurence Fournier-Boudry and Guillaume Cicerone, they were at 2:11. So Maddie Chalk, Evan Bates, they said they're going to go back to Montreal, back to the drawing board. What do they need to improve? They were undercooked, I think, on a couple of the levels, but still get the gold. How about for their American teammates, Emilia Zingis and Vadim Kolesnik? What a weekend they had. The French duo, they edged out Olivia Smart and Team Deek. Evgenia Lapareva and Jeffrey Broussard, they win the bronze medal. Let's get into Maddie and Evan in Chongqing. And how about some flamenco in this free dance? The matador and the bull. Look at Maddie with that costume. She designed it. And they designed some really great emotions out there. This was a strong start to the season. Again, maybe some of the levels they want to go up. How about this straight line lift? This was one that I hit rewind on and watched it again. Look at that structure from the two of them. Maddie said she is the matador, training the bull. That's Evan the bull. Hello, Evan. Hello, another gold medal. The 8th for them on the Grand Prix. They're the 3-time reigning world champions. They've got to feel strong about that overall. We'll next see them at Skate America. Actually, 12 years ago, guys, was the first time Maddie and Evan ever won a Grand Prix medal at Cup of China. That's pretty crazy. Let's hear other firsts from Maddie and Evan. Here they are.
Job?
Jump?
Job.
Oh, job.
What is the first thing you do when you get up in the morning?
The first thing I do when I get up in the morning is snuggle Henry and Stella before I get out of bed.
I usually get up and make breakfast for everybody in the house.
Your first job.
Ice dancer.
I mean, I guess waltz jump, isn't that where everyone starts?
No, first
First
job.
jump?
Job.
Oh,
Job.
job. I thought you said jump, and you said ice dancer. I'm like, that makes sense, we don't jump.
Mowing lawns.
I would press flowers and draw on bookmarks, and then I would sell them.
Entrepreneur.
$1.
First thing you tell yourself on a hard training day.
On a hard training day, we would say to each other, like, we love doing the work.
Yeah, we love to pay the price.
We love to pay the price.
That's what we say. Yeah.
First piece of advice to up-and-coming athletes.
Enjoy the process, enjoy the work, because when you enjoy the work, it makes the end goal so much sweeter.
Maddie Chalk and Evan Bates, never skipping a hard day at work, guys. Some life lessons for the rest of us. They are an American veteran team looking to make their 4th Olympic team. How about a newcomer on the American scene, Emilia Zingis and Vadim Kolesnik? They've been to just a few Grand Prix before, made their debut as a team in 2022, but this weekend, 2 personal bests. Here's a look at some of their free dance, and that helped them get their first ever Grand Prix medal. Silver for the American duo who was 4th at the US Championships last year. Maybe we factor them into the conversation for the US team for Milan in February. Look at the emotion here as the scores come up in the free dance. Igor Spielban, the longtime coach, embracing them. A big, big moment for this duo. Both their programs were just absolutely scintillating. I mentioned that 4th place finish at US Championships last year. They're going to try to get that road to Milan. Next, going to see them at Finlandia Trophy. Next, we're going to see action at Skate Canada. I've been telling you all show long about it. How about Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier? They're going to lead the charge. Christina Carrera and Anthony Ponomarenko. They also feature Here's How to Watch in Saskatoon. Last but not least, in our highlights, let's get into the pairs competition. We saw the Olympic champions earlier in the show. They make their return. They end up in third place. That bodes well for their dreams to go back to the Olympics among the Chinese pairs competition. But it was the two-time and reigning world junior champions, Medalkina and Berolava, who take the title over Conti and Mecci, the Italians. Let's look at the Georgians' effort. The youngsters here showing up fourth place at the World Championships last year. They're continuing that momentum. They skate with a great aggression out there on the ice. You can see here she just catches her edge on that axel effort, but was able to fight through that, and they claimed their second ever Grand Prix gold. That's a really good start for the season for the two of them. You can see what it means to them too. They've got thoughts. The pairs competition's interesting throughout the season, and this team has added to the intrigue. Sway and Han coming back, had not skated in 3.5 years. And if you get deep into the figure skating sort of nerd realm of who thought what over this weekend, people saying they didn't feel like Sway and Han were as strong as the scores showed, but they show up first time in 3.5 years, and they put out a pretty good effort. We're going to see them throughout this season, and that was a big moment for them in the race for the Olympics to try to come back. The Olympic gold medalists are two-time world champions as well. They win the bronze in front of home fans in Chongqing. All right, let's get into our third and final pairs clip that we have for you, and it's the Americans, Katie McBeath and Daniil Parkman. They skated back-to-back. Remember, they skated last week at Grand Prix de France. Only a few skaters made that journey from France to China. They were so strong in the short program in fourth place, but then just ran out of some gas in the free skate for this duo. They end up in seventh place overall. You can see the emotion after the short program. Now, they're not eligible for the Olympics, but they're hoping to make the world team. Some good stuff from them. There's Jenny Meno with them in the kiss and cry after the short program. Great drama in all four disciplines, including the pairs. There's going to be good drama this weekend in Saskatchewan as well. How about Deanna Stellato-Dudek and Maxime Deschamps? They're going to try to improve from Grand Prix de France in front of their home fans. We love doing this show with you, but we can't do it without you. Actually, it's time for this week's You Be the Judge, and we're going fashion. It is Halloween, after all, this week, and we asked you on the US Figure Skating social media who was best dressed come Cup of China, and Amber Glenn takes the cake over Madison Chalk and Evan Bates. How about this free skate dress from Amber? It was designed by Lisa McKinnon, and it sparkled under the lights in Cup of China. Now, Amber, she's known for her jumping. That is our perfect segue into this week's Skating 101, which is all about jumps.
Welcome back to another week of Figure Skating 101. Last week, we went over the basics of the sport. Now let's dive into one of the most exciting elements in figure skating, the jumps. There are 6 different kinds of jumps in figure skating: the loop, the salchow, the lutz, the flip, the toe loop, and the axel. Each jump is differentiated by the method of takeoff and landing. But today, let's talk about the most iconic of them all, the axel. Now, let's go way back. In 1882, Norwegian figure skater Axel Paulsen landed the first jump in competition, a single axel. Since then, skaters have progressed from doubles to triples and now even quad jumps, 4 spins in the air. Figure skating enthusiast or not, odds are you've heard of the triple axel. First landed by Canada's Vern Taylor in 1978 for men and Japan's Midori Ito in 1988 for women, it remains a key element of many programs for both men and women to this day. American figure skater Ilia Malinin has recently taken the sport to new heights by doing what some once considered to be impossible, a quad axel. He first landed it at the U.S. International Figure Skating Classic in 2022, and it remains a staple element in many of his programs today, along with other quad jumps. So, what makes the axel so hard? It's one of 4 jumps where the skater takes off from the outside edge. However, it's the only jump that takes off with the skater moving forward and lands with the skater backwards. And that's all for Skating 101 this week. Keep an eye out for some triple and even quad axles out there at Skate Canada this weekend. See you next week. Oh, and did we mention backflips are legal now?
I love it. The more you know, we're educating you across the whole spectrum of the sports. We've got more to tell you actually in terms of the Grand Prix standings. I've mentioned a few times the Grand Prix series. It's all about the final that comes in mid-December. That's because skaters are earning points by their placements. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings so far this season. And it's the skaters who have been first at the first 2 events. Ilia Malinin, Shun Sato, they've got 15 points. They're in pole position right now. Let's check out the women where, yes, Amber Glenn, she also has 15 points. Ami Nakai, she's going to look to double her pointage at Skate Canada this weekend. How about in ice dance? This is going to be close over the next few weeks. Fournier Boudry and Cicerone, they've got 15 points, as do Maddie Chalk and Evan Bates. And in the pairs, as you guessed it, guys, yes, your first 2 Grand Prix champions of the season so far. They've got 15, 13 for second place, 11 for third, and so on. We will keep you across those standings all season long. We're here with you all Grand Prix series long. The next 5 weeks, we've got you covered. Skate Canada is this weekend. Let's go ahead and remind you one more time where to watch, how to watch. It starts 7 p.m. Eastern. Saskatoon is hosting this event. Ilia Malinin will be there. So many other great champions. Deanna Stellato, her story continues. Gillis and Poirier, we're going to see how they do in front of the home crowd. Isabeau Levito will also be in action. Thanks so much for being with us right here on Rinkside Olympic season. And don't be afraid of the below, guys. That's the comment section. We want to hear from you, and we've got plenty of useful links for you as well. For now, for the whole team, we say farewell, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.